Yay Networks.
Welcome to a brand new episode of the Fitish podcast. I'm Jenna.
I am Francisco.
And that was coffee, you asked me, in case the mic picked that up. I'm just
Spiked?
like huffing coffee. I'm like, just as much as I can get down right now. Spiked? No, I don't really like spiked coffee.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like one drug at a time, you know? I don't love
Which one was the one of choice
like, you know, when you mix caffeine and alcohol, I guess you do with like a Red Bull, espresso martini. Yeah, they kick my ass. That's just my coffee mess, my regular coffee mess. That's cup number 3.
Oh, wow. I haven't
Cup
had
number
one.
3. I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling good. I'm ready to go. I wish I had so much energy. So anyway, Francisco and I've been drowning. Why did no one tell me how hard it is to get a house ready to sell? Oh my goodness. But we made it through. One foot in front of the other, one box at a time. And then Fran was like, oh yeah, I got to go to Austin all weekend. I'm like, okay, I got it. And so my mom watched Remy and I just started hybrid packing, donating, trashing, you know, doing the thing. Obviously, we enlisted some help. We have a great handyman and his wife came over to help us and, you know, to do a lot of little things we've been wanting to fix. And then cleaning crew, of course, probably needs to come through again and again.
So, needless to say, I've been in the other side of this process many, many times. I've been in this side a couple times, but when I have been selling a house before that it's my own, I've lived on my own with like Jeep, just the elemental equipment, you know?
You lived on your own with Jeep?
No, with just the elemental equipment, just like a couch, a dining table, a bed, and pretty much 3 accessories here and there, one painting. So everything was really...
All you had to say was, I've lived like single guy, and I think everyone would have gotten where that comes from. What you meant?
Putting that together was really easy, and making it ready was really easy. But this has been such a humbling experience in a way that puts yourself in your client's shoes. Like, I'm going to start making...
I love that for you, yeah.
I'm going to make this a series of videos of how we prep the house and how to do it, because I think there's ways that are easier.
When are you starting those videos?
Soon.
Because I think, you know, we have already done a lot of that content.
Oh, I've been taking videos.
You have?
Yes.
Oh, I'd love to see them for my vlog.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you vlogging?
It's like Spanish. Like you don't have a B anyway, right? It's
Are you vlogging?
I'm vlogging.
Are you vlogging?
It's a video blog. I'm vlogging. Yeah, I am gonna vlog because I think there's a lot of.
But when you vlog, you're getting like a stroke, or what do you look? Vlogging.
What are you talking about? What's happening with you?
Is it blogging?
It's vlogging with a fucking V. Like how we've been over this multiple times. V. It's like when I ask you.
That has happened.
It's a vlog. And also, how are you 40 years old and haven't heard the word vlog in your lifetime?
I don't know, because I stay with my age.
No,
I don't try to recess to a millennial lingo, Gen X.
You are a millennial.
Well, Gen X.
So anyway, no, vlogging's been around since we were, you know, that's what kids were doing, like, I guess college age, or, you know, and it got to be a really big thing. So anyway, yeah, I am. I've been filming some stuff because I know people are interested. I'm glad you brought that up. But yeah, you said last night, we've been kind of spending some time with friends. And we were spending time with a friend last night, and Fran said that this friend's also a realtor, and they both, you know, it's 7:00 at night. Fran's out on the phone working a deal. Our other friend's out on the phone working a deal. Both of them are like, oh, you know, the real estate market and doing stuff. And of course, I'm like, is it our deal? Is anything happening with our house? And but it's funny because y'all never stop, you know, with business like that. But when we sat down to eat, Fran turned to our friend and was like, man. They were both kind of venting like, man, it's so hard, you know, when you're working with clients, and they both love it. Obviously, it's great, but it never stops. And you said, and I'm so glad to hear you say that, like, gosh, I have such a different perspective actually going through this process with a home, because it's so easy to tell a client, like, I think it's great what you said. You're
Inspection
like,
is tomorrow at 8 a.m.
Fran tells me, yesterday the inspections this morning. And I go, oh, okay. Like thinking I was just like going to have a normal day. And he's like, no, you can't be here. And it's like 4 or 5 hours long. And I go, oh, so I'm just like finding that out like at 7 o'clock in the morning. So we got dressed and took Remy, and it was a whole thing, which I think it went well. So we'll kind of fill you in on all that excitement coming up. But yeah, anyway, so it's a lot. But yeah, the thought of people, it never dawned on me. I've never been on this side of the process. This is the first home I've ever owned. And so, a year and a half ago, that was the first time I ever went through buying a home. And it's always nice to have a good realtor on your side to kind of hold your hand and talk you through it, which I bet gets tiring for y'all, but with every client, it could potentially be their first time. And it's the largest purchase you ever make. I would assume for most people, it's like the largest sum of money that you're ever, putting into something. We can call it an investment. That's what it is. But getting it ready and then thinking about, oh, it looks clean. When you all clean your homes and you're like, this looks so good. And then you're like, people are going to traipse through here and look at where I sleep and like where I keep my toothbrush. And is it clean enough for like general public consumption? Or are people going to take photos, sit on our bed? And so I was like, I need fake bedding. I need to go get, I know they say stage it, but we were going to do a hybrid, but to see your furniture, and like some of our furniture is not super clean, and I like getting a steamer out. And now it's made me go, wait, do I want to sell this house? This house has never looked better.
Yeah, I know.
Other than the day we moved in. And I'm like, wait, this house, it's, you were romanticizing your own
I think
home.
what we need to move is the people out of the house.
Yeah. No, well, that's nice. I
Remy, you're out.
Yeah. Well, that's what they say. Like, if you want to keep a house clean, like get rid of your husband and children, and then it stays pretty clean, But no, I think that my mom and I talked about it because we're keeping track on what we want. Because if you checked in with me right in this moment, middle of the week, recording this podcast for y'all, I am having second thoughts about the whole thing. And I haven't said that to Fran yet. I do, not deep down, I know we're making the right decision. I keep telling myself that. But I think there are moments where it's starting to become more and more real. And I'm freaking out a little bit about it. Am I going to be there? Like I said to Fran last night, I'm going to be there going to Costco an hour away on a dirt road in my new used Bronco, bumping along going, we forgot something. I have to go to Costco an hour, and I'm going to be like sobbing, like, I love it here. I'm so glad I decided to like move to a Mexican surf town in the middle of nowhere. And
Stressing me out.
And I think I'm probably going to have some moments like that. But at the end of the day, all of the checklist of things we're looking for, I think we've met it.
I feel at some point in the summer, we're going to take the whole fam and we're going to go to Mexico City. Maybe to chill for a sec.
To chill for a second in Mexico City. Why?
Just to
and just keep paying our rent and just double? Yeah.
Yes.
Why?
Just because maybe it gets, we became like explorers. And it gets a little hot.
And it's going to get hot there. Fran and I have been talking about, this is the thing. We've only signed like a 6-month lease, and we're planning on staying a year. But the November, December, January, February is like a very high season for where we're moving. And so stuff gets really expensive. And we want to get through Halloween and Dios de los Muertos, obviously, because how exciting. And we've heard there's a really cool celebration for that. But then after that, we're kind of going, what are we going to do? Do we want to like move houses? Do we want to buy a place? Like, it's so hard to know what you want to do before we've even spent the time there.
But I think this is an amazing exercise, not for what it is for, like not for living and trying to find a place. It's an amazing plasticity exercise for your brain. It's a detaching exercise that it's very important. It's something that helps you at your 40 years old to be malleable, which they said that all dogs learn no new tricks. And I think
that's how it goes.
We're about to learn new tricks.
Yeah, I agree. I think, but again, this is something I've talked a lot about on my other vlogging that I do that you watch not all of because you get tired of me, which is fine. I talk a lot about that for myself personally, when I talk about this decision, because I think that the longer you stay somewhere, you are comfortable, but are you fulfilled? Are you being challenged? Some people do not like challenge or change, and you want life to be more comfortable. And I get that because I think we all like comfort. I think that this will be hard to get out of the comfort zone for you in different ways, for me in different ways, for my mom, who's the most gung-ho about this whole decision. A lot of you asked me a lot about Candy. Yes, she is going. She's a huge proponent of this decision. She is very excited, teaching Remy about snakes and spiders and scorpions, that he should not be touching them or picking them up. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it is. It's going to be a real challenge. But I have always grown the most when I've been challenged, when I've taken these kind of risk of, leaving
Not
the radio
only
show.
you, everybody. I think this is going to be a great growth opportunity.
Yeah.
Go on.
I was.
What are you pausing?
Because you started talking.
But I'm done.
Okay. But I think
And I'm just kidding. Keep going.
I'm going to read a comment from a listener. Jenny wrote us and said that, Fran, you need to really start working on your content, because there are people, my husband and I included, that really would love to leave the hustle and bustle of the U.S. behind. We've talked about it for years. I wasn't too convinced until I went for a visit, and I actually see myself living there, but don't know where we would even start the process once we're ready. There's so many questions, and I think your channel would really be beneficial. Doing it in both English and Spanish sounds perfect, because I would be able to listen to it with my husband. And I believe that she has married a man from Mexico. I think
Subscribe to my OnlyFriend.
Yeah. There you go. But I think that's great. I think people are interested in the content. Talking about doing the content like you're joking about, I'm going to make this series. And our friend who does real estate, that was interesting that he provides,
I'm pretty sure he's in OnlyFans.
That his but a buyer kind of with step-by-step of stuff. And I think that as long as you are interested in that content, I get a lot of questions about, the legality of all of this. I think once Fran and I get to Mexico and then you're seeing us, do our podcast down there, I'm sure from a content perspective, we can always add some shows that talk more specifically about this sort of thing.
I am committed to start something like that.
Really?
Yes.
I'm so glad to hear that.
And I will do it. There is no need to remind me every 6 months about it. It's going to happen.
Okay.
No, once we get down there, and I'm going to start the series for how to prep your house to market, because it is very important. We get very overwhelmed, and there's steps that if you follow are going to be easier. And also, for sure, we'll love to talk a lot about buying property abroad, what it takes, meets. Like yesterday, I realized that you have the impression that you needed to be a resident to buy property. And there's a lot of people that think certain things.
In Mexico.
In Mexico, yes.
Yeah, because we got to make sure you're clear. You're talking about getting your house prepped and ready to sell in the United States, but then...
Yes, and also I'm talking about getting property abroad and meets.
And what do you need? Yeah, that's fine. I think you can devote some real educational content to that, because it's not for everyone, but for people that are interested, then they have a place to turn to, because you are a real expert on that.
Yeah, I want to think.
Yeah, you are. Yeah. And they always say, talk about what you know. Sometimes we talk about what we don't know and we learn with you. But something that came up for Francisco and I was actually a car. And we've gone through an interesting array of scenarios in the last week with cars, because we both had recently gotten into not necessarily new cars, but like we had bought 2 luxury SUVs. And I want something a little sportier, a little more casual for driving down there. So we had been looking at pre-owned Land Rover Defenders and Broncos. And so Francisco actually tell everyone the story about taking Remy as a salesperson. Tell everyone the story about taking Remy to look at the Defender. This is crazy.
I go before, because I've been looking at this Defender. I have an obsession. I never liked the Defender until I saw the Defender 2-door. I'm obsessed with that thing. I think that is the coolest thing on the road, SUV-wise. So I went down there, Land Rover, the one close to the home.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that is the DFW one. And I get there, they showed me the one that they had 2-door, beautiful,
And I'm over here like 2-door with a kid.
Sales guy was great, showed me around, walked me through the whole car and all the bells and whistles. And I was like, I realized that I had a meeting. I was like, dude, I have to come back in 2 hours, 3 hours. Cool. So I left, went to my meeting, went to pick up Remy, came back. And
this salesperson would know, clearly this is a serious buyer because he's looking at the car, he's coming back again a second time. You know, you're ready to
I'm
probably
pretty sure I already
execute.
filled an application by then. And we get there. The sales guy was busy. So I took Remy and showed him the cars in the showroom. Remy loves to be in front of the wheel. So he was playing with it and all. Like he's not destructive. He's not like breaking shit. He's just like he's curious. He's a 2-year-old. And at this point, the salesperson comes. Like, I'm ready for you. So I grabbed Remy. He's like fusses a little bit. Like at this point, he just like went like, no, whatever. And the salesperson looks at me and he said, this is the best bird control. And
that guy just lost that car deal big time.
I was like,
that's such a weird thing to say when you're trying to sell someone a car. Like, you would just be like, oh, he's so cute. Even if he wasn't being cute, you'd be like, I love kids.
That kid
even
is
if you
amazing.
Even if you hated kids, you'd be like, I love kids. Tell me about him. Like, what kind of sales technique is that?
yes. Like,
Fran was so mad. And y'all, this happened over a week ago. And I know he's still mad, obviously.
I didn't know I was mad because, like, you can tell me pretty much, I'm very hard to be offended because I'm a human and make mistakes. Maybe
you insult Mexican culture, he doesn't care.
I don't care.
But you insult you insult parenthood, like, the parenthood journey.
But it was just like, it's like you're insulting my kid here.
Yeah. So what did you say?
I said, like, he said, these were his exact words while we were walking to his desk. This is the bird control. It seems that you have your hands full. And I was like, I looked at him, he's like, you know what? I've never had my hands full of something as amazing as I have them right now.
Preach it, daddy.
And I think soon he realized that he fucked up.
Yeah. Well, he's definitely going to realize it now that you called attention to the actual dealership. Yeah.
And then he was running numbers and, the whole fucking song and dance in a dealership, which I fucking hate.
Ugh.
We went back into the cars because he was taking his sweetest time. And this time, when I took the Remy out of one of the cars, or he saw a toy car that one of the guys had there, and he wanted it, he went crazy.
Yeah.
And this time he went fucking crazy. And I would have absolutely understand a reaction like that, like a joke, like, oh my God, yes, I get it. I haven't been at that for a long time. I would have thought something like this, but you don't say it.
No. That was your pretty woman moment, Fran. That was your hold Remy, look at the sales guy in the middle of the store, be like, I love being a dad. Big mistake. I'm not buying a car here. Big mistake. Have you seen Pretty Woman? Do you get that reference?
I'm a Hispanic man, no female. I'm not that dramatic.
Do you get the reference?
Yeah, no, for
of
sure.
what she did? Julia Roberts, Richard Gere. That was your Pretty Woman moment to be like, I was going to buy this car until you insulted my child. Big mistake. So we did not buy a car there.
Wait. Go ahead.
Go.
No, so long story short.
Yeah.
We didn't buy a car there. I went to a different location they have. I was about to purchase this one because they actually had a better one. Why are you making faces? What do you want to say? Say it.
I don't want to say anything. I was going to do a tease and take a commercial break when you're done.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So bottom line, we didn't end up, we decided that it was about to be too flashy to be in Mexico with a brand new Defender.
Yeah.
So I came to senses, which I normally do.
And then I'm going to tell you what car we got. And do I still have that car in my possession, or did something very dramatic happen? As soon as we take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. So we ultimately decided on getting a Bronco. Very untimely. Like, this wasn't anything about, like OJ, and I didn't really want that association, obviously.
Babe, you were like crying, and I was like, I'm going to buy a white Bronco because OJ, poor
What?
thing, he died. He
What?
didn't kill anybody.
Okay. Yeah, that's how I feel. That's painting your mother of your child in a wonderful light. Thank you for that. No,
It's a joke.
Someone said the other day something about a white Bronco. So I like those newer Broncos. Fran was you turned me on to them because I think Broncos are cool, and I had never considered a Bronco as much. Your tastes change, and your things that you want change, especially based on where you're living. When I know I'm going to be driving to the beach and sand and, throwing stuff in the car. Yeah, I want something a little sportier, bigger wheels and something a little more unassuming than driving like a Porsche Cayenne around. And so, so we decided to trade in one of the Porsches and get this car, get a Bronco. And so, so this was a whole nother dealership thing. I agree with Fran. He hops around to car dealerships and does this whole thing. I cannot stand it. I do not enjoy, regardless of the dealership, I don't understand why, if I tell you, I want this car, get the paperwork ready, I have the money or I have the checkbook, like we're going, we're doing it. Like, why we can't just roll in and like look at the car and sign on it and be done. Like, it's never less than a 2 or 3 or 4 hour process. It's insanity. I don't know what y'all are doing. You got to find a way to expedite that process. But yeah, we landed on this. You found it. It's so cool. We landed on this really cool black and white Bronco, and it was pretty like souped up, like a light panel, which I joked with the sales rep was so good for my hunting. And she's like, you like to hunt? I'm like, no. Do I look like I like to hunt?
Hunting a good time.
Hunting. Yeah. But hunting a good time. Exactly. That's great. No, but it is good in Mexico for some of the roads, because that night we were driving back from the beach, like it gets pretty dark on some of those roads at night. There's not as many lights as there are here. And so it'll be useful, but I thought it'd be a good car to kind of like bump around town and feel safe. And so, of course, Fran takes it over the second we get it. He's really excited. I mean, obviously all of our things are shared things, but at some point I told him like, yeah, I want, when I need to drive a car, I'd rather do that if you're going to be in a nicer car, because I'd rather not be like the expat American lady, like bumping around with Remy in a nicer SUV. So anyway, I bring the car for the first time. I hadn't even set up my phone or anything. I'm still kind of figuring out all the levers. I bring it up to the office a couple of days ago is the first time that I really drove it. And I park it out front, come inside. I remember going back out to the car actually because the lights were still on and I couldn't figure out why, because I didn't think I had turned them on. And so it was the best thing that I did that, because I went back out there and like fixed it and came back in the office. I was actually interviewing someone back here that had come up for a meeting to do some, work with the brand. And my marketing director came back here and was like, Jenna, sorry to interrupt your meeting, but someone just tried to break into your car. I go, what are you talking about? It's out there in broad daylight. And this street's really busy-ish. I mean, there's just a lot of people and light and traffic and cars and stuff. And she said a car of 2 guys pull up kind of right in the middle of the street. They don't even park. A guy gets out of the passenger seat, comes up straight to my car. Granted, there's like a G-Wagon parked next to my car. So it was very much Bronco affiliated, and like pulls on the handle, kind of looks inside, pulls on the handle, and then runs. They're just in broad daylight. So yeah, I don't think they were after stuff that might have been in the car, because there were lots of nice cars on the street. My car was not the nicest car on the street by any means. And so, yeah, I think they were trying to steal the Bronco itself. And so I'm glad it was locked. I'm glad I locked it. I hadn't even quite figured everything out yet. So anyway, now I have it parked in the garage here. I've been parking it in the garage at the house because I'm like, after having even nicer cars than that, then this is the one that people are targeting. So hopefully that's not the case when we move down there. But quite the car drama. Oh my gosh.
Yes, it's just been crazy. But I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah.
The hunt was long and exhausting. I cannot go through
It's so funny with
dealership.
All the, yeah.
At least for another month.
Good. I know that's what you prioritize. I told Fran, I go, I don't even care. Let's just sell this house first. Then we'll figure out the cars. There's no easy way to move to another country, like when it comes to logistics of cars and things and what you want to do. But yeah, I have to tell y'all too quickly about a a place I decided to make a lot of donations to. They are based in DFW, but it's called Viola's House, and they do really great work. And I mean, the gist of their business model, I say business model, their philanthropy is really supporting women with unplanned pregnancies. Maybe they were in bad situations. They don't have a lot of support. So they've actually housed like something like 350 women since their inception. They do short-term housing, obviously job support, helping them, you know, kind of with that early motherhood, like prenatal, postpartum care, that sort of thing. They do really great work. So we donated like almost all of Remy's toys. We decided to keep, you know, one basket of things that we think he might like. I still have his books and some things like that. But yeah, we donated all of his toys and some formula. I had so many baby clothes. I think this emotional lesson that moving like this has taught me, and I'm still digesting it, is at one point I turned to my mom, I turned to Fran, I go, did we just need to get rid of a lot of things? Because now I'm able to, everyone's like, where's a clean towel? And I'm like, well, there's 4. And if you need to wash your own towel, you know, it was just the point is we had like 100 towels and they were always piled up. And so having less things is definitely liberating, but it can be really hard. And I know so many of you probably have so many baby clothes and so many things because of course we do. It can be really hard when you examine each one individually looking at an item. And so I decided, obviously, 1 bag of newborn clothes that were meaningful or in case I have another child. Beyond that, you know, so many things can be donated. So, you know, hold on to a few meaningful things, of course. I'm not saying get rid of like every baby blanket and stuff that really matters to you, but I think that bar of what is important needs to be lowered a little bit more, if that makes sense, or raised, I guess. So like not everything has to carry so much weight.
I truly believe that everybody should go through this process of detachment at least once a year. Because we are in this slippery slope of hoarding. Like
For sure.
And we're not in any means close to it, but you start attaching to things that are meaningless and that are just weighing you down. So I think that you don't need to move to go through the process, and it feels relieving when you clean up a junk drawer or when you clean up a junk garage, or like when you realize that there's a bunch of stuff you really don't need.
Yeah, it was nice to have Fran gone too, because I could just be like, donation, get it out of here, you know, or not have to check in with everyone. I did like all that by myself, and I was like, I'm scared now. I would never get rid of. Yeah, but I mean, I remember you being like, you definitely threw a remote away. And I'm like, if I did, I would never intentionally like throw away a gaming remote. If I did, it was by accident or it got lost because we have so much stuff. I'd be honest with you. I'd be like, yeah, I threw that shit away. I'm at least, if I'm a lot of things, you know, but one of them is honest about that kind of stuff. I'll be honest with y'all about stuff in general.
And I have 99 problems, but my beach ain't one.
Mm-hmm. You've just on fire with kind things about your baby mama today. One more. We have a great question actually for the show, just as a departure from. I know we've been kind of drowning y'all in our moving content and whatnot, and I don't feel that that's going to change anytime soon because that's what's going on in our life right now. But I do have a guest coming up here in a couple of weeks. I'm doing an interview with a cardiologist who also does the functional wellness, the place that I actually went to when I did my blood work and to get a bunch of supplementation to kind of support my aging journey of turning 40, as well as, I did that month of Moonjaro back around the holiday because people had talked about that. So, and I'm honest, so I tell you all the truth. But anyway, I'm going to interview him about, a handful of things. So we're going to have guests here and there, hopefully interesting guests when we get down to Mexico too. Just a little bit, only things that we will think that y'all might be very interested in for short periods of time, but we still are very interested in all of your questions. And Courtney, I assume that's okay. I won't say your last name. Y'all just tell me if you never want me to read your name or if you want your name read. I have a question I'd love for you to answer on the podcast if you would like to. My husband and I are 35 years old. We have a 2-year-old daughter. I've loved listening to you and following along since our kiddos are the same age. I relate to y'all so much. My husband's certain he doesn't want any more children. I'm on the fence, but from a logistical standpoint, I understand where he's coming from, financial freedom, workload, etc. However, I can't shake the feeling of sadness for my daughter not having a sibling. I would love to hear your thoughts as both a working parent and growing up an only child. Thanks for everything you share. It's helpful, so helpful and relatable. And I told her we would answer it on a future podcast. So that's what we're going to do. Yeah, I'll speak from the only child perspective before we kind of share our thoughts on parenting and having a second child now that we're in that boat. You don't know any different when you grow up as an only child. I think there's some great things about being an only child, of course. I also think we live in a different time now when you speak about kind of parenting as we're older as parents and financial freedom. I thoroughly enjoyed my childhood. I don't have anything negative to say about it. The negative I do feel has come at an older age, if that makes sense. As a kid, I didn't think a whole lot of it, but I'll say, I'll just go through a quick list of positives and negatives that I feel about being an only child. Positives are you are around adults more. So I do think you mature a little more quickly. A lot of people have always said only children's vocabulary in general usually is better just because they're around their parents a lot and they don't have a younger sibling that they're spending more time with to kind of get emotionally more immature, because that'll happen sometimes when kids are close in age. And so I found myself, you want to be like people pleasing a little more around adults. You want to be part of the conversation and play it cool. And so I was always kind of going with my parents to things. I've asked my mom about it a lot. That wasn't an intentional decision on their part. It was just that we were poor. We got pregnant with you. It was a lot. And then by the time we felt more comfortable having a child, you were a few years old, and then I just never got pregnant. And that was kind of the gist of that. So it's not that they didn't want more or that they only wanted an only child. It just never happened for them. So I'll say, and then, yeah, of course, from a financial standpoint, you get a lot of attention. You are able to just kind of spoil a child in that way that you didn't have to learn a lot about. Like I never had to, if they were going to help me get a car or college education and stuff, I was the only one that they had to worry about. So a lot of those things I think are really nice. Whereas when I have friends that have 6 siblings, that's not always the case. I can't even understand how people have that many children and how expensive things must be. It's great to have a lot of siblings as you get older, for sure. Negatives, I would say the biggest issue that I've had as a girl, only child, since you have a daughter, is that I treated throughout my whole life girlfriends as the sisters I never had. And I've been hurt a lot because of that, because most all of my girlfriends had siblings, whether they were brothers or sisters. I will never be a sister to them. Does that make sense? As much as maybe I put too much pressure at a younger age on female friendships, that I would get very disappointed by them, because at the end of the day, their family is so much more important than their friends. And I found that, maybe, I would put too much pressure on friendships because I was so excited, to have friends when I didn't have siblings. And now that I'm older and having divorced parents, I do romanticize the idea of having a sibling that would have helped kind of carry the weight of some of that, taking care of my mom, just being around, if my mom was having a hard time. But then again, you can always have a nightmare sibling, right? That's just like kind of a burden on the family and that sort of thing. So all in all, I think being an only child is absolutely fine. I'm really good at dealing with my own emotions alone and that sort of thing. But I still think that I agree with you as a parent now. I always said growing up, if I had kids, I wanted 2. I don't want a lot of kids. But Fran and I are kind of in that boat. We're not there. We're not.
Yeah, no. And so my perspective as having 2 siblings.
Yeah.
Of course, I cannot give a perspective as an only child because I didn't live that, but I can see I have multiple friends and you, only childs. And the only thing I can compare it to is that when you are an only child, it seems that you come to the world like you get to be 18 or 16 and you come out to college like skipping and happy and everything is going to be amazing. And in reality, you haven't been prepped up for reality as when you have siblings, when you have to fight for things, argue constantly. They prepare you for the real, like I'm pretty sure my brother was very well prepared for life. We might have been a little tough on him.
That makes sense. I was always so baffled why everyone eats food so quickly. That's something as an only child. I've never been competing for slices of pizza and food. So when I went to college, I was just horrified at how all of my roommates ate food. They were just shoveling pizza down like it's gonna be gone forever. And I've never had to compete for food. So I would just kind of eat and talk. I talk a lot, obviously, when I'm eating. I'm just...
Of course, nobody fights for the chicken
such a little thing,
the
though,
soup,
Fran. I mean,
pizza and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just... And...
What's the best part for you? I mean, that's such a small thing. What's the best part for you about having siblings and your reasoning for than not wanting to have another child.
camaraderie. How do you say it? Camaraderie.
Yeah, actually.
That is the best thing. The best thing is that even though like I fought with my brother and my sister all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but we knew that we were there for each other constantly, and we still know. Like I can text my sister, call my sister at 3 a.m. She's gonna pick up and she's gonna help me in whichever manner she can with any issue I have. And same goes to that regard. I think that is the best thing. The best thing is just to have. It's very that friendship that it's just so tight, like nothing else. But I can see the bright side of not having them around also, you know?
It's a huge sacrifice, especially as women we make, isn't it, to have another child or to have children? Because I have not forgotten how hard, and I know in the whole scheme of life, that hard year or two pales in comparison to probably so much of the joy that we get. And I really do miss that baby. I mean, I look at these photos. I can't believe I have this little boy. And all of you said it to me. Everyone says it. Just wait, just wait. It goes so fast, and it really does. I will say that the financial requirement and the emotional requirement of having a child and the toll that it takes kind of on you is not something to be dismissed at all. Let's live in reality. You know, it's a big undertaking to have a child. And just because you want to be selfless and give your child a sibling, I don't think that's the only reason. I think you should do kind of what we did when we talk about moving abroad. List off all the reasons that you and your husband don't, because you both need to be on the same page about it, because it could really hurt your relationship, because you don't get to clock in and tag team this anymore. Like you're both playing defense, and you get even less time together. At least now it's like this morning, he wanted to sleep in, and he usually gets up with him in the morning, but you were up all night, you were tired, and you were like, can you get him? Because Remy gets up really early and I got up. But if we had two and I had been up all night with a newborn, and I know it's a phase, life is seasonal, but I don't think it's anything. Yes, I think if you can enjoy your life and travel with one child and think about all the other things you'd have to have with a second one for a while, especially a third one, people that go to have a third, that's like a new car, But anyway, I think that there's no right answer to that. It's all about what's a good fit.
So important.
And your daughter would be fine as an only.
I think you just hit the nail on the head. Like it's easy to romanticize something.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that you're ready in every way to do it.
And that's how I feel about our move to Mexico.
Yes.
Are we romanticizing?
No, it's something to talk about, because you would not be happy being strained. I don't think
being strained in your relationship, make sure you're on the same page. And thanks for the question. I think that you'll figure it out. You're 35. Y'all don't need to rush it. People say have them back to back. You don't need to do that either. That works for people. That's great. But, we're okay. It's like, if I'm 42, turn 40 in a couple of weeks, man.
I know.
Here we go. Well,
you look amazing, though.
Thank you, baby. I appreciate that. That was a nice thing. That was actually a nice thing to say about your baby mama today.
I love you.
I love you very much. Well, thanks for tuning in. And we hopefully will have a big update about our house. Did it sell? Did it sell before we put it on the market? What's going on? And we'll tell you all about it next week.
Take care.